If you kill people and they next to you and you just let them come back and live right next to you, they can live upstairs from you. Let them come to your house.
This is The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app.
Now, he's the mayor of the city of Milwaukee. He's a young man. Give him a chance. I only complain about things that I care about. What I want you to do is pretend like I'm in St. Louis. Now I'm asking the mayor and the county council president and the county council. Show me.
Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio in Milwaukee, here is Dr. Ken Harris.
This is supposed to be on EAS. I'll put it back on the program. You're listening to Truth in the Afternoon. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Harris. 833-212-1017 is the number. So I've been doing some research. Shocking, I know. And I've been looking at what's going on today. If you haven't heard the news, and I know you're wondering, why are you bringing up something from California? Like, why is that important? Why is a California bank failure important to Black people in Milwaukee? I don't know. Well, let's look at it. Regulators closed down Silicon Valley's most important bank, one of them, today. It's the largest bank failure since the Great Recession in 2008. But what we miss is it's the second largest in U.S. history. So Silicon Valley Bank suspended trading of its shares that went from, what did we estimate, Kyle? From like around 250, 260, 280, all the way down to like $30, $39 a share. And so then what do you think happened? People that had their money in the bank went to withdraw their money. And as one of the main institutions where startups deposited their venture capital money, their failure shocked people, which is going to ripple through the venture capital arena. And tech companies who are trying to get rid of workers and hold on to their money. Think about if you had a credit line at Silicon Valley Bank. Well, the turmoil comes, and now interest rates rising is really telling us that the broader market is in trouble. And so really, when we think about what's the impact on the tech sector, when what we also need to be thinking about is what's the impact on us. As of last December, they had $209 billion in total assets. The only bank larger that failed was Washington Mutual, and it collapsed during the financial crisis in 2008. So what happened? Well, they held on to treasury notes and other government bonds. That was half their assets. When interest rates start to go up and you're at a lower interest rate, clearly you're not going to make as much money as anybody else. And then people started freaking out. And as interest rates rose, those bonds became less valuable and they needed to recoup their losses. On Thursday, the shares went down 60%. And so they had to sell $21 billion in assets, and they planned to sell some of its stock to raise money, and on and on and on. And then people started coming in and taking their money out. And then others called, hey, it'll be okay, everything will be fine. And then what happened? When the shares went down to 39, regulators stepped in and closed the bank. But then you ask, what does this mean for us? What does all this mean? Well, First Republic Bank, another California tech bank, their stock fell 22%. Bank of America fell 1%. Morgan Stanley, 2%, all on the same afternoon. What does all that mean? Banks are sensitive when interest rates go up. When interest rates go up, they get in trouble. With inflation still running the way it is, Federal Reserve officials signaled that they'll continue to tighten policy further to get prices under control, but their stance has then heightened fears of recession, and then people start to freak out. Now, here's the key thing. The labor market added 311,000 jobs in February, reflecting its resilience amid interest rate hikes, despite the Fed tightening it. So what does all that mean? Like, why is that so important? Well, the issue we have is strong jobs, right? The data that came out today, 311,000 jobs, contributes to market volatility because it supports the case of continued interest rate hikes, which is what the Fed is trying to do, which then causes the risk of a slowdown, which then causes people to panic, which will eventually, if it works its way across the country, will end up causing significant trouble. Now, I don't know when the last time a bank failed. And when the banks failed, I believe one was a state bank, North Milwaukee State Bank. And then Legacy. Was Legacy a state bank or was Legacy I don't remember which one it was. In the end, what does all this mean? What it means is that those people with money will shift it. And I mean people with a job will then shift it. We're talking pensions, 401k, 403b, the government being invested, pension funds for the county, pension funds for the city, pension funds for the state are invested in these places, in this market. And when the market goes down, that means you lose money. But there is one bright spot, which really isn't a bright spot. And it's a thought I had. When you think about where the poor will end up, it dawned on me. Through the whole thing, the poor are going to end up right where they are. Poor.
And that is Dr. Ken's Truth on the new 1017 The Truth, bringing all the smoke to you.
I love what you're doing, and this radio station is just like what it's called.